This is Eric Sloof over at ntpro.nl, and in this video I will show you how adaptive quorum control works in a vSAN stretched cluster. So what do we have? We have a preferred site and we have a secondary site, and we also have a witness site. Okay, so we're hosting a VM configured with a policy that survives a site failure, but also a host failure within the site. So that's why we see two mirrored components on the preferred side, two mirrored components on the secondary side, and a witness component on the witness side. So this allows us to lose the secondary side or the preferred side or a host within those sites. The votes are calculated and each component has one vote. So the total votes is 9 when I lose the secondary side and I have enough votes. 3 plus 3 is 6. I'm allowed to start the VM. Okay, so far so good. But what happens when I have a subsequent failure and I lose the witness node? Then I only have 3 votes. Am I still able to power on the VM? And that's where adaptive quorum control kicks in. So let me explain this a bit more in detail. So in the vSphere client, we can see that we have created a cluster and I'm hosting a VM, the Eric Sloof VM, and I have 6 active hosts in my cluster. This is my witness node. When I select the VM, I go to the monitoring tab and I go to physical disk placement. I can see that all the components of this VM are active. So we have 2 active data components on 4 and 5 secondary side. We have 2 active data components on 2 and 1 preferred side. We have a witness component on the preferred side, host 3, and a witness component on host 6, and that's the one on the secondary side. We also have a witness component running on the witness node. That's the tiebreaker for the cluster. We can also go into the command line, and there is a special ESX CLI command within the vSAN namespace, and we can use the debug components command to see how the votes are calculated. So this is where we can see one vote for each data component on the secondary side. We can see one vote for each data component on the preferred side. We can see 3 votes for the witness component on the witness side and 1 vote for each data component on the preferred side. 3 and 6 of the witness component on the secondary side. Okay, so far so good. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at a site failure. So now we've lost the secondary side. The VM is lost too, but are we allowed to restart this VM on a host in the preferred site? We have to calculate the votes. So in this case, we have 1, 2, 3 votes plus the 3 votes from the witness node. So we have 6 votes in total. That's a majority. We can restart this VM on one of the hosts on the preferred site. Right after the virtual machine has been restarted, Adaptive Quorum Control kicks in. Adaptive Quorum Control will recalculate the votes. Each host will get 3 votes, or each component on host 1, 2, and 3 will get 3 votes. The number of votes on the witness component goes down to 1. This is to allow the preferred site to survive a failure of the witness. But let's take a look at the voting calculation first. So when we go into the command line, when we go into the vSphere client, we can see that we've lost host 4, we've lost host 5, we've lost host 6. The VM is still up and running. It has been restarted on host 1. I still have my witness nodes. I have a majority. When I go to the monitoring tab and to my physical disk placement, I can see that I've lost all the components on the secondary side. I still have active components on the preferred side, and I have my witness with recalculated votes. And these are the calculations. So these are the votes on the secondary side. They are all 1, but we've lost the ESXi hosts. These are the votes on the preferred side. 3 votes for both data components and 3 votes for the witness component on host 3, host 1 and host 2. And we have a witness component with only 1 vote, but still active on the witness node. Okay, so now we have a subsequent failure. We've lost the witness. We already lost the secondary site, and we still have a preferred site. Let's take a look at the votes. 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9 votes. That's still a majority. So the VM will stay up and running on this preferred site, even though we've lost the witness site and the secondary site. That's where Adaptive Quorum Control kicks in. So we are not forced to power off this VM, even if we are only the only surviving site in this stretched cluster. Let's take a look at the vSphere client. So in the vSphere client, we can clearly see that we've lost the witness. We already lost the secondary site. We have 3 components active on the preferred site, host 1, 2, and 3. My VM is running on host 1, but it's still up and running. When we go into the command line, we can see that the secondary site is still absent. We can also see that we have a vote for the witness site, which is absent, and we have 3 votes for the witness component and the data components on the preferred site. We still have a majority, so we are allowed to host the virtual machine. Okay, what happens when I lose ESXi01? Within a site, I'm still able to survive a host failure. And that's why we got 3 votes. When I look at the remaining votes, 3 plus 3 is 6. So we still have a majority. So we can lose the secondary site. We can lose the witness site. We can lose a host within the preferred site, and the VM is running on one of the remaining hosts with just 1 data component and a witness, but 6 votes, which is still a majority. So let's look at the vSphere client. In the vSphere client, we can see that the witness is down. We can see that host 1 is down, host 4, host 5, host 6. A lot of absent components, but we have a surviving component on host 2, and we have a witness component on host 3. So the virtual machine is still up and running, or it has been restarted on host 2. When we go into the command line, we can identify the absent components on the secondary side. We can identify the absent witness node. We can identify the absent data component on host 1. So the host 1 is not visible in this list anymore, but luckily we still have a surviving data component on host 2 and a witness component on host 3. So the VM is still up and running. So I hope you have a good understanding of Adaptive Quorum Control now. Eric Sloov is signing off, and please visit ntpro.nl. Thank you.